What can stop them from just saying, "Hey, I'm going to get rid of all my problems with this one and move on over to something else and start the business again, be your competitor?"
Well, it's a great point, and usually the buyers are concerned about a seller competing with them if they feel that that's a risk, and then they'll usually ask the sellers to get into some kind of non-compete agreement. And this again can vary by jurisdiction. In general, from the conversations I've had with attorneys, the non-compete agreement has to relate to a couple of things. It's got to relate, number one, to the actual marketplace. So if you own a noodle stand in a neighborhood, you can't ask for a non-compete forbidding the seller from opening a restaurant in the state because your market is not the state. Your market is the neighborhood, right? So it's got to relate to where the business actually happens, and the time has got to relate to the amount of time that it would take for the goodwill to transfer. So if you are like a wholesale distributor, it would be reasonable to ask for several years of non-compete so that you can really forge a new relationship with the people that are your customers. If it's more of a transactional kind of business, that might not be as reasonable a time frame. And the reasonableness, I guess, is what gets tested if it were ever going to go to court, which again opens another whole conversation, which is simply this. Um, it doesn't matter what agreements say. Agreements just open the door to be able to go to court and to pay a retainer to an attorney to go represent your interests. And uh, as most people know, if you open the door to going down that legal pathway, you're opening the door to a multi-year solution that's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. And if the seller of the business did go and open a competing business and they did manage to attract most of the customers, well, what would happen? The buyer would end up probably failing in business. They wouldn't have money for their lawyers. You would stop receiving payments on the note that you bought. Do you want to keep investing to go pursue that guy? Like that once the door is open to a legal kind of solution, it just ends up costing more and more and more money. Uh, I've often heard it said that those kinds of solutions are really only there for big companies, people with a lot of money. You're looking for a workable solution. Like the reason that I love deal structures that include a good degree of seller financing for buyers of businesses is because you're creating an incentive for the seller not to do these kinds of things, because often those seller notes will have an offset clause saying that if you break our agreement not to compete, or if there's a material misrepresentation that we discover after the fact that you lied to me about something before the deal, I can offset my damages against what I owe you. That opens the door to another thing.